The French and Indian War that the British won. Ever since 1066, when William, Duke of Normandy, invaded England, France and England have been at odds. This relationship was made especially apparent by the French and Indian War. So, let's talk about it. In the early 1750s, the French decided to expand into the Ohio River Valley. The only problem was that the British had already claimed that part of land. But instead of retreating, the French decided to stay, build a fort called Fort Donegans, and fight. And fight they did. Around 1754, the French made many striving successes. In 1756, things were heated, and the British had enough. So they declared war. But, to the dismay of the British, they were not that successful. The French put up a good fight. But, in 1757, there was a new British leader, a man named William Pitt. Pitt saw the colonial conflicts as the key to expanding the British Empire. With this realization, he brought an influx of cash from the British Empire into the war. He paid Prussia to fight in Europe and reimbursed the colonists for raising troops in North America. In July 1758, the British finally won their first great victory at Louisbourg. Shortly after, they took Fort Donegans. The French, disturbed by British's newfound success, abandoned Fort Donegans. This gave the British a key stronghold to aid them in the war. The British then closed in on Quebec, where Gen. William Wolfe won a spectacular victory in the Battle of Quebec on the Plains of Abraham in September of 1759. Shortly after, in 1760, Montreal fell out of French control, their last foothold in Canada. Spain decided to join France in their endeavors against the British, but they were not successful, and the rest of the war was spent on the British seizing French and Spanish territories. The war ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1763. The treaty gave Canada and Florida to the British, but allowed the France to keep its West Indian sugar islands. It also gave Louisiana to Spain. The war resulted in American colonies being significantly stronger because of the removal of their European rivals to the north and south and opening the Mississippi Valley to westward expansion. But all this came at a cost. The British were sunken into deep debt. So, to fix this, King George II decided that the best way to pay it off was to excessively tax the colonists. This left the colonists feeling betrayed and used. Years after the war, the British kept adding more and more taxes on the American colonists. This would later lead to the Revolutionary War. The colonists enjoyed the ability to self-govern. This led to the colonists having fairer laws and more rights compared to the average English citizen, such as the right to property and freedom of religion. The Great Awakening also altered the religious climate in the American colonies. Ordinary people were encouraged to make a personal connection with God, instead of relying on a minister. Newer denominations, such as Methodists and Baptists, quickly grew. This brought the idea of independence into the minds of many colonists. So, that's it. Thank you for listening.